Hello, beautiful listeners out there.
Howdy, y'all.
Welcome to the Beer Banter podcast. This is episode 6, and this episode is officially sponsored by
Sawdust City.
Sawdust City. We were donated these lovely beers by Ethan, the sales rep at Sawdust City for Toronto.
Hey, Ethan.
We love you, and we're going to dive into this beer. We're going to taste it. We're going to talk about some other stuff. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with you with some fresh Bone Pine.
Big collab.
Big
Big
collab.
collab.
Big
Cheers.
collab.
Trevor.
Yes.
So what is this one?
So Bone Pine is Bone Pine is a collab, a three-way collab with Beer Town, Sawdust City, and Third Moon.
Beer orgy, if you will.
Yeah. Beer G.
Cool.
It's the malt bill from Third Moon's Bone Tree and the hop
Delicious.
bill from Sawdust City's Lone Pine.
Very cool.
The actual beer itself is 6.5%. The tasty notes are citrus, pine, and soft mouthfeel. It's definitely a hazy IPA.
And just to top it off, Beer Town Public House put the two together to encourage the collab. Thus the three-way collab.
Right. Beer Town, if nobody knows, is a new chain craft beer bar that does focus on craft beer. They have a very extensive menu. I've been to the one downtown a few times. Great people, great beer on tap. They have this
Beautiful venue.
They have this insane paddle, flight paddle you can get. I think there's 32 samples on there.
Wolf.
And it's hanging up. It's hanging up in the spot, so you can kind of see it. And you're just like, should we get that? Or like,
Should we, if we were to get it, we would have a 1.5 ounce sip of each.
Yeah.
Or like 250 milliliter sip of each.
My concern with that, ordering all those beers at that time, and we almost got it when we were there a few months ago for a friend's birthday, but we decided against it, is that you have to have enough people that the beer doesn't get warm.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
Get to the end.
I don't know if it's exactly 32, but it's a lot. It's a
or
huge.
you just do it as shooters.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to take a cheers.
Cheers. Cheers, dudes.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Pine cone. It's a
Piney,
fresh
citrusy.
pine cone.
Piney, citrusy. Oh my God.
That's really nice.
So what this reminds me of, not that it reminds me of a specific beer, but it's like a New England style IPA that's got a little more bitterness. It's got a little more IBUs in there to punch up the bitterness.
Yeah.
Because it's not super soft. It's soft, but it's not pillowy like a cloud.
I think it gives it a sharp body.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That too. Yeah.
It makes it not like creamy.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys can see if you got a good.
Pretty opaque.
That is definitely opaque. You can't see a damn thing through it. So that's. I might as well just read the thing. It's right in front of me here.
Oh, there you go.
The folks at Beer Town Public House have teamed up with Sawdust City, Third Moon, and their all-time favorite beer geeks, shout out to Terry and Emma, to bring you Bone Pine. Driven by our collective love for Lone Pine and Bone Tree, we've merged the hop bill of a West Coast IPA with the malt body of a New England IPA to create a soft yet hazy IPA with an incredible, luscious body.
Oh, it's luscious.
Oh, yeah. Fermented with Foggy London, Escarpment, shout out. This IPA is built on a bed of two-row and oat malt with additions of Simcoe, Chinook, Columbus, and Summit hops. Bone Pine is the best of two worlds in one. I love I love the way that Sawdust City lists their ingredients as well on their website. Water, pure Muskoka water. Love that.
I wonder if we could get that down here rather than the Toronto water that we currently use.
I mean, you can go fill up a tote and
bring it on back
in a box truck and bring it on over here.
What's the other one? It's up near like Newstead
Springs,
and they have their own water spring below the brewery.
Yep.
Yeah. I think me and the family are checking out pretty soon.
Yeah,
which will be exciting.
Yeah, I was there a couple years ago on my way to Steve's wedding. What's up, Steve?
And he's probably the demographic that maybe we'll allude to in another episode, or fuck it, we're doing it now. That bring the whole family to a brewery,
Yeah.
kids and all.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys will see the episode we did where we went to Rorschach,
Yes.
which was a great time.
Yeah.
But there is the ambient noise in the background of children's laughter and being little menaces. We were moaning about it, but it's inevitable with our demographic, and that's kind of what we do. We're not going to take the kids to Hooters. I mean, you can, but you're not getting a great beer list, and it's more of a brew pub brewery is, you feel more at home there.
The thing about children is they'll just scream for no reason.
They're just having a good time.
They don't even have a reason to scream. It just happens.
I want to scream right now, but then people will be like, look at that man-child.
Yeah, and then the dogs might get upset.
And then the dogs will get upset, and then all hell will break loose.
So pure Muskoka water, Canadian 2-row malt, oat malt, and dextrin. So oat malt is contributing all to this opaqueness. They must use about, I'm going to guess, 25, 30%.
And that dextrin, there's a nice floater in there.
Nice.
You see that guy?
Yeah, get that yeast cake in there.
It was either that or a whole hop leaf.
Yeah, the dextrin adds
the
some...
The dextrin's giving it this nice head retention.
Yeah, head retention and a little bit more fermentability at the end there.
Yeah.
To clean up. For the foggy to clean up, even though the foggy does lead to it does lead to a maltier, full-bodied beer.
Yeah.
Foggy's great. It's one of my favorite yeasts.
It's a good hop bill.
Simcoe, Chinook, Columbus, and Summit.
I would have thought the IBUs would be a little bit more, but it's saying 40 IBUs.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be like 50 to 60.
Yeah, and I feel like
maybe that's the body that's kind of dropping it down a bit.
I honestly feel like it's some of those later hop additions. Like if you're adding Summit and Columbus in at the end, they can get a little bit spicy at the end, even though you're usually extracting all the flavor and aroma near the end of the boil or at the whirlpool, whatever. They can land to some spicy or perceived bitterness.
Yeah.
But it says, 40 IBUs. I would honestly guess this was higher, but it's great. I love that extra little bit of kick.
Good kick.
And OG 16 Plato. Final gravity is 4 Plato. SRM is 4. So OG stands for original gravity. If nobody knows, Plato is a way of measuring the fermentable sugar content in the wort before fermentation. Then final gravity means what it finished at. So 4 Plato means that it finished with 4 Plato of sugar still in the wort. So the higher that number is, the sweeter it's going to be. The lower that number is, the drier it's going to be. And the SRM is the color. And it starts at 1 and goes all the way to 40. And 40 is black. 40 is the blackest, darkest beer you can ever find. So 4 is a very, very light, nice, light gold. Very delicious.
Very tasty.
Very grateful to Ethan and everyone up at Sawdust City.
Thanks, buddy.
In Gravenhurst, one of the most beautiful areas. I also know Serena, who works there. We were friends in Calgary. She used to manage the Best of Kin brewery.
Cool.
I know Colin from Best of Kin as well. Great brewery out in Calgary if you're in the area.
Nice.
Yeah. So
thank you. This is also great artwork on here. It's definitely, they have the Sawdust City sort of nature aspect, but then they have sort of that heavy Skulls and Bones from Third Moon that do sort of a lot of metal themed metal collabs.
Yeah.
Shout out to Vox and Hops, Matt. What's up? He's done some collabs with them. I know some other metal bands have done collabs with them too.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, it's really great. This is tasty beer.
Yeah, and I can remember working for Henderson, we used to use Northern Canning for all of our mobile canning, and they also used to can for Third Moon.
Yeah.
And the guys would come in, and Third Moon makes a lot of really thick, delicious, hoppy, malty IPAs. And if you love that kind of thing, they're one of the best breweries to check out if you haven't had them, or if you've had them, you know what I'm talking about. And we would make all kinds of different beer at Henderson. Every once in a while, it'd be a really thick, hazy, like we did the Super Joe there, which is 10% triple hazy. And every time they were checking the CO2 volumes with the C-Box, they'd have to put the inline filter and constantly rinse it out. And I was like, yeah, sorry, man. It's a little, sorry, guys, it's a little bit of a thick. And they're like, that's nothing. We can for Third Moon. I'm like, hell yeah. Hell yeah, brother.
You're not checking anything then.
No, I mean, sometimes they like, you don't really need a lot of the carbonation you get with these kinds of beers are perceivable mouthfeel. Like you can taste it if you're confident with your sample port and your Zwickle, if you use one, if you can get a good sample and taste it, you don't really need to, like, it's not,
you gotta get a pretty good
it's idea. Not a lager where you wanted at like 2.7 to get that effervescence. This is you need it at 2.4, 2.5, not even. It's just set it and forget it. It's like the Ronco rotisserie grill. Set it and
you just
forget it.
Forget it.
For sure.
Ron Popeil coming at you. Speaking of Calgary, I'm wearing my Citizen Brewing Company shirt from Calgary.
May I correct you?
Yes.
Calgary.
Not Calgary.
Calgary.
Citizen Brewing and Brew Smith. Shout out to Colin and everyone and Trevor at Brew Smith in Calgary, brand new brewery. Had a discussion recently on the comment thread of the Beer Guide. Check that account out on Instagram, great influencer account. And we were just chatting about beer stores closing. So there are 11 beer stores set to close in the next little bit in various parts of Ontario. And being from Ontario, but having lived Calgary,
and we both live there.
We have both lived in Calgary.
Both.
I'm Mike from Canmore.
Yeah, and when I moved out there, and I'm pretty sure we've talked about this on the show before, when you've moved out there, we're very close to the same time. And there wasn't any of this going on that's going on in Ontario now, where Dougie broke the walls down and allowed it at other places, allowed beer and wine to be sold at other convenience stores or grocery stores. So we could get it out there anywhere. But there wasn't specifically LCBO and beer store that are both government regulated.
Exactly.
So you would have an independent, and shit, I remember we were getting like Sierra Nevada, or like Yingling, Ninkasi, like getting awesome beer out there.
Stone,
like all of the stuff.
Yeah, and
Dogfish Head, like you could get it all out there, and it was just like it opened certainly my eyes. And like I've been mentioned on the show too that I worked at the LCBO once upon a time, and it was good. Like the original craft beer was like Mill Street, Moosehead, and Sleeman's, you know, and that was like, whoa, these guys are different. And then going out there was like, holy shit, there is a world of opportunity out there for different beer styles and coming from different places and the influence. So it's a big influence out there to have that.
Yeah.
And then coming back here and knowing that our hard-earned tax dollars are going into these places that are now closing. And so I don't know, like it's an interesting debate to have, because it's like, is it good? Is it bad? It's our tax dollars.
Yeah.
Doug did this thing that changed the landscape of what our purchasing power is for getting beer and liquor. Yeah, it's really interesting. It's unfortunate for the people that work there, because they are well paid and
government employees, basically.
Government employees. So like it's a cushy job, but at the same time, it's kind of like, I think you realize now that it doesn't really matter.
And it took a little bit of explaining to people that I was friends with in Alberta that were born and raised in Alberta, or were born and raised in other parts of Canada, or even I worked with a lot of people from Australia, the UK as well. And it took a little bit of explaining that, yes, in Ontario, there's the beer store and then there's the LCBO. But if I want craft beer, I'm not going to the beer store.
No.
Wait.
Why?
Why are you not going to the beer store for craft beer? Well, the beer store specializes in 24, 28 packs of macro lagers.
Yep.
And they have sales on that shit all the time. You can buy a 2.4 of Budweiser for 30 to 40% less than a 2.4 of any craft beer. And in my mind, that's a broken system.
That's purchasing power and what they do and the volume that they make it at as well.
I was just tired of getting laughed at. The way that it works in Alberta, if you don't know, everything's privatized there. So if you have all your paperwork in order, you can open up your own liquor store. And you can decide what you have in that liquor store. I used to live in Inglewood in Calgary. Nice neighborhood. Right across the street from me was Oak and Vine, one of the best liquor stores ever.
Me too.
And they have a huge beer cooler, and the people that work there are amazing. They curate their selections of what they have in their store so wonderfully that you get the best craft beer, and it's in a cooler. I know you can get craft beer at the LCBO, but a lot of it's just sitting in cases in room temperature.
That one they had. What was the other one that was in Zin in Inglewood as well?
Yeah,
and that was like sort of off the beaten path.
A little bit further west.
It was kind of like it used to be an old warehouse, probably a cowboy boot manufacturer,
cowboy hats, cowboy boots,
or
Smith Built hats.
Yeah,
shout out Smith Built.
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
And that place was beautiful, and they didn't have any macro beer at all. Mm-hmm. Like it was all craft.
Yep.
And deals by the case, and yeah, just great. They did tastings there. They did it was a really well put together venue.
And that's the thing too about Alberta, and it encourages other breweries that have the ability to sell cases. When you're buying craft beer in Ontario, you're usually not buying a case of, Bellwoods. You're not buying a case of Great Lakes. You're not buying a case of, Bone Pine.
And if you are, great. That's very supportive.
But it's very expensive.
Yeah, it's very expensive.
And I can just relate this to, we played softball in Calgary, and we would always go into Oak and Vine and get a 15-pack of the Jasper Crisp Pills. 15-pack of 355 milliliter cans. Perfect. Crushable. I think it was 4.2%, something like that. Crushable, delicious, lower ABV crisp pills for playing softball. And they had sales on craft beer cases all the time. A lot from the States as well. They were able to get a lot of stuff from the States as well. And it's just broken in Ontario. Broken in Ontario because Ontario has a lot of really great beer, and Ontario pays like 8 times more tax than any other, like 8 times more tax on producing beer than Alberta.
Yeah.
Definitely more than BC. I don't know what the numbers are on that.
Because doesn't BC, they are a mix of both. They have
They have BC liquor.
Have BC liquor.
And then also private.
That's also like government funded and supported. But then they also have independents. But actual independent stores, not grocery stores and convenience stores like there are here. Mm-hmm. So like if you or I, anyone out there.
Or you.
Us go together, we make a little store, and all it is Ontario wine and Ontario craft. Like, is that something we can do now?
Good question. Good question, Aguado.
Throwback.
Let's give old Dougie Ford the old call.
You know what? Let's call him right now.
Yeah.
Beep, boop, beep, 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 boop, boop.
Oh, his number's not 4,000, 4,000, 4,000, 4,000.
Oh, man.
Fuck. Yeah, good question, but
it's called Rob.
Rob! How's the crack in hell, bitch?
How's the view from Sugar Heaven, bitch?
Probably pretty good.
This is Day Drinking with Jamie and Trev.
Nice day out. It's a real nice day. It's gonna be a great day.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's a good question. Why is it so broken in Ontario, and how can we fix it? I do think that beer and gas stations, the problem is it's not craft beer most of the time.
Yeah.
In convenience stores and gas stations.
Yeah.
And that's what's slightly annoying. Somebody on our Instagram did message and said that he watched the IPA episode and ended up finding.
Thank you.
And ended up finding a convenience store that sold. They found Great Lakes Octopus. They had never had it before, and said they found it at their, I think it was a convenience store or gas station. Anyways, it was cheap, and they bought like 4 cans of it, and they said it was delicious, and they had never had it before. And this is not in Toronto, by the way. This is somewhere else in Ontario.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah,
nice. Well, that's great. Yeah. That's good for Great Lakes, and they're doing great things with their sales and distribution. So like, they're getting it out there in gas stations all over Ontario. That's great. Yeah, and like that's kind of like breaking the walls down, right?
Definitely feature a GLB beer at some point. This episode is all about Sawdust City, though.
And yeah, and we're gonna. Sawdust City's a little far for us right now, but locally we're gonna try and maybe do these beer reviews maybe on site. Yeah, and have somebody included.
That'd be great. And if you want to buy us a pint, we have a donate button on the website, and you can buy us a pint. Yeah. And if you put in the comments where you want us to go for a pint, if you donated, we will go there, and we'll film us going there.
That's it.
So
hard stop.
Yeah. That's a deal.
I did get, and I know it's macro. I went to the gas station the other day, which I don't need to go to. I don't drive. However, I have a barbecue, and the day was beautiful, and I needed to fill my propane tank. Yeah. So I went, and they had, all the standard macro stuff, but they had a nice Paulaner Helles and Pilsner Urquell and Czechvar, and then everything else was Michelob Ultra. Yeah. Heineken, whatever.
I don't consider those beers to be macro,
but then they are at the same time.
They are international, so they're. I mean, I guess you can count U.S. as being international, especially now. But we're all connected by land. The United States and Canada are connected. We're North America. International, as in the UK, Europe and the UK. They're not. I mean, they are macro. But they're not macro in the way that Budweiser and Coors are macro. Yeah. They're not making a vat of high gravity malt syrup and watering it down with literal water and then inserting liquid hop product in line and carbonating it in line to a 1,000 hectoliter bright tank and then packaging it. That's not how Europeans are doing. Right. Or the UK breweries are doing that. They're actually brewing it. They're not brewing high gravity. Yeah. They're not watering it down. And you can taste it and you can tell. Paulaner Helles was just on sale at the beer store. I grabbed a couple cans last week, $2.10 before deposit and 13% HST. You can get a case for like $50. You get 24 for like $50.
And they're like 500 ml cans too,
They're 500 ml cans. And it's
bang for your
I
buck.
would always say buy in Ontario.
Sawdust City.
Or Sawdust City, anything. Or, but if you're at the beer store and you want to buy a case, like that's a great deal.
Yeah.
You support craft beer in Ontario enough.
So, yeah. Sleeman's owns Sapporo. Yeah. Or Sapporo owns Sleeman's.
Either
way. But now Sapporo from Japan is just brewed here in Guelph, Ontario. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the same with like Budweiser. Yeah. In High Life and like all of them. Yeah. A High Life that we get here is very different than a High Life from Milwaukee.
Very different.
It's crazy.
Doing it our way.
Nothing's gonna turn us back now.
Yeah, it's really crazy. That's like a sort of a sad thing as well, is that we're buying that macro beer and it's just whatever liquid that's created here. Yeah. For like cheap, but then like marked up because that's what the consumer wants, right? Yeah. They're like, I know I love Budweiser or Bud Light, whatever. Okay. Mm-hmm. We'll make it for you for really cheap and charge the same that we've always been charging, and you'll never know. What was back in the day, my grandpa used to drink it. It was like Lakeport
honey lager.
Dude, and it was like $24 for a 24 of bottles.
I used to drink that like water.
Yeah.
When I was 21, 22.
Yeah.
Splice in a photo of me drinking Lakeport honey lager. Boom. I bet you there's thousands of them. I can remember there was a time
24 for 24.
I was still, $24, 24 beers. My friends and I would drink all the time in the basement, and we used to record down there music, and we'd also just hang out there. There's a living room, and my bedroom was down there, and we used to pile empty beer cases. So we would always drink.
Collected enough, you could collect $24 worth of empties, which is what, they're like 10 cents a bottle.
Yes, yeah, I think 5 cents.
5 cents,
but.
Boom! Get yourself a new 2-4.
I used to make a wall in my bedroom,
and also have a bed and a couch made of empty beer bottles.
I could have at one point, but there was a time where like I had maybe like 8 cases high, like 3 different rows of cases, and I asked my buddy to help me bring them back to the beer store. And so we went in there and we returned them, and we got like
loaded them.
I think we got 2 free cases.
Loaded them up in his Honda Civic, and
it was a truck. We had to have a truck. There's no way.
4 trips later.
I mean, I had a car and it wouldn't fit in my car. That's why I asked my buddy
go.
who had a truck. But good times. And also, that's another thing about Alberta that they didn't really understand. It's all bottles here. A lot of bottles are here.
Yep.
That's why when you go to the beer store, you get bottles. Typically, you can get a case of a 2-4 of whatever for like $40-$50, you know?
Well, we're going to have to go and just get a pack of bottles.
Yeah,
maybe for one of the next episodes.
I think we are going to do an episode where we rate macro lagers.
Yeah.
And
could even be the next one since we're on topic.
It's going to be the 4 most popular macro lagers in Ontario. I don't care if they're brewed in Ontario. I want to know what the most popular ones sold at the beer store are. Yeah. And we'll review all 4 of those. And we might do it blind.
Ooh,
we can have something where like
we'll just sit here like this, right in the sun. Interesting thing about all these beer stores, brewers retail, beer stores.
Yeah, brewers retail.
They simplify, formerly known as brewers retail. They simplifies it for the people.
Shout out. And it's splicing some old content here.
Now beer store.
Yeah.
What are people going to do about bringing empties back and getting that return? Because now they're going to be few and far between. So
less beer stores, less
empty return, right?
What if one of those was one of your beer stores you went to? You know, like that's going to suck.
Like you're saying, you're saving up all your bottles and you're bringing them back. There's probably one right next to the grocery store that you used to go to. It was like easy to get to. And now I know, like living downtown in Parkdale, where I live, I throw my empties out in a blue bag and they're gone in less than 5 minutes. Yep. And they're going up the street because there is a beer store sort of nearby, but that one's probably closing or is closed. So I don't even know where they're taking them to now.
On that topic, I was at the beer store boutique just last weekend. It's a smaller boutique style beer store where they carry more craft beer in Distillery District.
We're just talking shit this whole time.
I don't care. Like
same thing.
Yeah, whatever. But there's a guy that came in with an empty bag, a bag of empties, not an empty bag. It's full.
Big old bag.
full of empties.
Where did I put them?
Yeah, and the girl was like, "Sorry, we don't accept empties at this store." He's like, he didn't say a goddamn thing. He was just like, "Ugh!" And just walked out. And I was just like, "So can I get my polymers or what?"
You know, like I figure probably my garbage bin when I fill it up, maybe that's like $5 to $10 worth of empties.
Yeah.
For somebody, so like. That helps, you know, those people that need that. And now, like, where are they just right to the recycling bin? Like, what's happening there? I don't. And then another thing about Calgary, there was just full-on recycling centers where you would go and you could bring your empties right back to
the Bottle Depot. They accept
the Bottle Depot.
All drink containers.
All drink containers.
Milk, pop, beer,
fully refundable.
Juice,
all of them,
everything.
Yeah.
So things are broken in Ontario.
So that'd be a great thing if that was available.
It would be amazing.
Yeah.
I don't remember
all the grapefruit juice I drank. You know, bringing those containers back.
Real healthy pee. I don't remember the last time I went to return my empties for money. Same. I just put them in my garbage chute, my condo.
Oh yeah, that's the thing too. Now is But like yours also probably has the sorting thing.
Does.
So like that's a thing, but where's that deposit going to? The building for the luxury of having a garbage chute?
Good question. I don't know if it is.
These motherfuckers.
But if it is, they're not doing a great job because the chute's down all the time.
So no one's getting anything. It's just all garbage. It's just a giant infirmary down there. Everything just gets melted.
Yeah. I'm glad we touched on that because I was literally just going to say Alberta has a bottle depot where you can recycle fucking everything.
It's amazing. Brad and I used to collect it all.
Although,
and then bring it back and then go and drop it off and then go get a case of beer and then rip.
Although I will say, this was a couple years before we moved out of Calgary back to Toronto here. There was a bottle depot downtown that was the closest to us. And I went to return our empties there one day and came close to getting stabbed. There was a guy there with a knife and he was like, you know, willing to like stab anybody who went in or out. I was risking it because I was like, you know, I'm here, whatever. Yeah. So I went and it was like $13. And I had to like dodge the guy who was closer to the exit now than the entrance. And got back in the car, drove home. Said to Christy, I was like, yeah, so almost got stabbed at the old bottle depot. She's like, how much did we get? It's like $13. She's like, maybe it's not worth risking. It's like, yeah, let's just recycle it.
How much you get? $13?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Let's keep going.
So we were able to buy 2 avocados and we made quite the guac that night.
Nice.
And hey, you know what? Hey,
dinner's dinner.
Little chippy.
Yeah.
Little guac for me. A little stabby for you.
Nice. 1 can of beer.
Yeah.
Another thing to sort out, I guess, in this crazy state of Ontario, with all these closures of beer stores and that what they provide, like it's only going to become a problem, or not necessarily a problem, but it's something that it's eliminate. And I don't know, maybe that's a goal.
Yeah,
maybe it's a goal to eliminate people bringing things back like that and just go to full recycling. But if a program works in other provinces, you know, then.
And we're back. We have another bonus beer from Sawdust City. This is the Woody, the old Woody alt beer. Thanks to Ethan again and everyone at Sawdust City for supplying these beers. The official sponsor of this episode today. So the alt beer is a great style. I love alt beers. Originated in Germany. This one is...
They're like an amber lager?
Yeah, amber. Yeah. Basically an amber lager that's slightly maltier than your traditional amber lager. Yep. This one's 5%. Amber, bready, and smooth. The website says, mahogany perfection glistening off the lake. Its pristine finish simmers as it glides effortlessly across the water. Images of those classic wood powerboats populate the memories of Muskoka. To commemorate this bygone era, we brewed a beer as classic and as pristine as those watercrafts. Old Woody Alt is a lagered ale fashioned after the beers from the Dusseldorf region of Germany. Filtered to a gleaming mahogany, this ale drinks as smooth as the finish on those iconic wood boats. Come on down to Sawdust City and savor a taste of the past.
So on your next road trip, go up to Gravenhurst and...
If that's not enough to get you to that damn brewery, then I don't even know who you are, mister.
Just see who you really are, mister.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers. Nice to enjoy this pint. That is, like...
Nice, like, roasty, sweet finish from that Munich, too.
Yeah, even though I typically, on a nice sunny day like this with the sun just cooking us, a light lager is great, but it's amber, it's smooth, it's rich, but it's not super malty like you'd expect a porter or stout to be. Not full-bodied at all. It's so crisp and clean.
Yeah.
And it has that layer of malt that just kind of finishes. Okay. This is very crisp, refreshing. I'm going to read the malt bill. Obviously, they use pure Muskoka water again. So German Pilsner is the base for this bad boy.
Yep.
Then we have Munich Type 2, wheat, and roasted barley. So that roasted barley is probably like maybe a percentage of the grist.
Yeah.
Just to give it a little color and a little bit.
Just a little sprinkle.
Yeah, just a little sprinkle for color and a little bit of that acidity that darker malt brings.
Yeah.
It has the perfect touch of color, in my opinion. That's I used to do that with a lot of lighter beers where you wanna add a little bit of color, but you still want them to be light. Just a tiny bit, 1% of the grist, maybe even less. You get color, you get a little bit of flavor, but it kind of it still lends to a very, very light-bodied, refreshing beer while still getting some of that color. That's great.
Do you think another thing that maybe America stole from the other good of the world, the California Common?
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting one
This
because
is the alt beer to the California Common.
yeah, they're very similar.
Yeah.
Anchor Steam
Basically a California Common.
they made the California Common famous.
Yeah.
Anchor Steam in San Francisco. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. I do love Anchor. I used to love Anchor Steam. I don't know. I haven't had it in a while. I think they've closed down now.
Another one that we can get out in good old Alberta.
Yeah. I used to drink that all the time in Alberta.
Yeah.
Anchor Steam, for anybody who is interested in what the history of that was, short little history anyways that I know. The fermentation vessel was on the roof of a building in San Francisco. And in the morning when it was cooler, you can see the fermentation, the steam rising off of the fermentation vessels, which was open fermentation at the time. That's how they arrived at the term steam beer. Yeah.
Huh. That's cool.
Yeah. It's something I've always remembered after looking into it when I was really nerding out on beer in like 2016. It was like, I'm going to be the best home brewer I've ever been. And I'm going to brew all these beers. And
it's a good one to brew.
It's great. Yeah. I love a steam beer. I love a California Common. Yeah. Yeah. So a California Common is
an amber lager.
Yeah, basically.
But like a fast fermented.
So lager yeast fermented at ale temperatures.
Fermented at ale temperatures.
So
in that short period of time.
Yeah.
And that gives it that really esteriness too.
So lager yeast typically work around 10 to 14 degrees Celsius. Ale temperatures are more typically within 16 to 20 to 22 degrees Celsius. So using a lager yeast that's meant for lower temperatures and fermenting it at a higher temperature is still going to give you a beer, but it's going to give you a slightly different beer than a lager. You're going to get a lot more esters from the yeast.
Yeah.
And it's just a great experiment to do if you're a home brewer and you don't have fermentation control. Just try a lager yeast. The worst you're going to get is beer.
Yep.
And the best you're going to get is a great beer that's like an Anchor Steam or a Cali Common or whatever your favorite Cali Common is. There's a lot of breweries doing California Commons now.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I remember my first time. I remember my first time attempting to brew a lager and did it in the wintertime so that I could leave it outside. And then what happened? A warm front came through.
Oh,
and it was like just melted all the snow.
I wanted to guess it froze.
That'd have been cool.
Yeah. Oh, Eisbach. Eisbach. Woo! Yep. Eisbach.
That'd be cool.
Eisbach.
One day we'll try that.
Would be a lot cooler if you did.
One day we'll try that.
One day.
Also, just going back to old beer store and LCBO things. Do you remember when there's like the pop bottle beers? It was
like Steelback?
Yeah, it was like Steelback.
They were plastic
pop bottles, like brown
PET. Yep.
Yeah. And there's one with an eagle on it.
Frank D'Angelo used to own Steelback or whatever, like garbage, just complete garbage.
Yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah.
I remember my grandpa bought those too.
Yeah, I remember
pop bottles. That was when we were doing like the barbecue in the backyard for the day. It was like we just got pop bottles of beer.
I remember being at a party once. I bought these Steelback beers because they were so cheap, and I bought a 4-pack, but they weren't cold at the time. I thought they were going to come out
really
cold.
Good.
It's really good. Yeah, I thought the beers were going to come out cold down the conveyor belt that the beer store throws them at you on, and they weren't. I was like, oh well, it's the only thing I have. And I get to the house party. I try and like put it in the freezer or the fridge. There's no room at all. So I put like one in the freezer, but I want to drink right away. So I just open up a warm one. And because it's in a plastic bottle and it's warm, it just was like double disgusting. and I was just like choking it down.
I have to. You're just drinking it, you knife the bottom and just.
And then I only had one slightly cold one, and the other ones were just like still warm. And then I was like, oh, fuck it. I'm just fucking gonna fucking go for it, whatever.
Yeah, just rip it.
And then I think I fucking tried to walk home, and it was like way too far. And then I tried to call a cab, and I didn't have any money.
And you walked home with a pop bottle of beer, and you finished it, and then you got home, and you were safe and sound.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice.
So and I watched ET. It was fine.
Nice.
Yeah. This is delicious, by the way.
Yeah, really good.
If you see this in the LCBO or you're at Sawdust City in Gravenhurst, pick that up. You're not going to be disappointed.
They do a lot of all the styles, which is nice.
Exactly.
They're not specific to, we do crazy hoppy beers, which is great.
Yeah.
Do it. They kind of bend out of their lane a bit, and they do these kinds of things, and it's really fun.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to do.
It is, and it's lovely. I'm very happy that we've done this.
It kind of flexes what your ability is to do with all the styles.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not just like, we've mastered this and that's great, but like you should be able to do the other things very well as well.
Yeah, and this is one of the best alt beers I've had, and I've had some from Germany as well, so it's kind of weird.
It's great.
Not weird, but like great.
Good for you, Sawdust.
It's great. This has been great, Jamie.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Thank you so much again to Sawdust City.
Thanks, Sawdust.
The gang there at Ethan, Serena. Those are the people I know there, and Sam, the brewmaster.
Yeah, that's great.
Really respect your beers and
everything you're doing,
and it's a great spot. Obviously, it's I'm gonna be anytime I'm in Gravenhurst, I don't just stop by once. I stop by at least twice. Love Sawdust City. Can't wait to get back up there. Thank you again for officially sponsoring this episode.
Thank you so much.
And we will be back with another episode.
Give us a high five and a little review.
Yeah.
Tell us what more we can do to make this even better and more enjoyable for you.
Most importantly, if you're on YouTube, click like on this video and subscribe to our channel if you like our content, and we will keep pumping it out. We're gonna do more on locations. If you like the Rorschach video, and if you didn't see it, go back and check it out. And we're going to try and do one of those a month.
Ones.
And we're going to be back with you next Friday for another episode.
Hey, what about life?
Life's too short. Drink great beer.
Okay, we did it.
Let's do it.
Cheers, y'all.
Cheers, everyone.